Hi YouTube, and welcome back to Sweet Tea's Journey. Um, Today I just want to talk to you about my journey with primary mediastinal B-cell lymphoma. Where it started, how it started, how I got through it, also the side effects that I'm currently dealing with. So my journey started in April of 2022. April the 16th to be exact. I was actually on a family trip, and I had what I thought was allergies, because I've always get allergies in the springtime, so it wasn't anything new to me, because I take Claritin on the regular, or Zyrtec, or Singulair, or whatever my doctor prescribes, that year. So I always know that during the springtime I'm gonna cough, and I know that I'm gonna have runny eyes, itchy eyes, runny nose, stuffed nose. I just know that that's part of my regimen when it comes to the springtime due to pollen. So I developed this cough that it seemed like I just couldn't get rid of. So I treated the cough with cough drops. I treated the cough with old school remedies, with tonics and hot teas and Vicks Vapor Rub, and sweating it off, trying to get it out of my system, and it just seemed like nothing would help, or nothing worked. So fast forward to May, the end of May, around Memorial Day. I called my doctor because I developed this cough, and the cough was getting worse, to the point that I was becoming short of breath. I couldn't breathe some nights. I couldn't lay flat. Some nights I just had so much going on in my chest area that it was like I'm suffocating, or I felt like I was honestly dying in that moment because of the shortness of breath and the exacerbation, and just not being able to catch my breath. So some nights I would have to sit up to sleep, which was very annoying for me. So I called my doctor and told her, hey, we got to do something about this cough. Keep in mind, I was in school at the time. So I had stress on top of whatever else I was dealing with. So I called my doctor. I was like, hey, we got to do something. Like, I don't know what we need to do, but we got to do something. So she said, okay, well, we'll get you a chest x-ray. Actually, I did a CT scan. And she was like, well, T, we just want to make sure that there's no blood clots in your lungs. So Memorial Day came. That Monday after Memorial Day, I didn't hear anything back from my doctor to get the results of the CT scan. So I emailed her through the patient portal, and I was like, hey, did we get any results back from the CT scan? And she said, yeah, Tia, but unfortunately you have a large mass in your chest. So when I first heard those words, it was as if I went numb. I went limp, because when you first hear about something that's abnormal, the first thing you think about is death. The first thing you think about is sickness, and what's gonna happen, and how it's gonna happen. So when she told me I had a large mass, she said, Tia, don't think about it right now. We'll talk about it when you get out of school. She called me that night and she said, hey, well, I'm going to send you to an oncologist, because, we have to dig deeper to get a biopsy, because we don't know what the results is. And it could just be your thymus gland. Keep in mind, when you go into puberty, your thymus gland is no longer needed. Your thymus gland deteriorates, and that's it. It's there to help you establish immunity to whatever is going on in your life before you hit puberty, and then after that, it's no longer needed. So I am 35 going through this, right? So She called me that night and she told me she was going to have to send me to an oncologist. So I said, okay. So when you think of oncologist, you think cancer, right? So everybody knows that Google has all the answers. So I Google large mass in thymic area. So all these names came up: teratoma, lymphoma, germoma, tumors. All of them can be benign. Excuse me. All of them can be benign, right? So I go to the oncologist, the best oncologist in the world. I go to the oncologist and he tells me, hey Tia, you can have all of these. You can have one of these, but to be sure, we'll have to get a biopsy. So I'm going to send you to a thoracic surgeon. So in May, I cried for 2 days. 2 days straight, I cried. The third day, I prayed. And I prayed and I said, Lord, whatever this process entails, I'm willing to go through it. Even if that meant giving up my life for others to live, I was willing to do that. I was willing to walk through this process with my head held high, knowing that God had me, knowing that whatever I was going through, it was God ordained. Because one thing I have learned, that the devil cannot touch you unless God gives him permission. And it took me back to the book of Job, how Job lost everything in one day, and God restored it. And God kept him and covered him. And my journey wasn't even a taste of what Job went through. So I knew that if God kept Job, he would keep me. He would cover me. He would protect me. He would make sure that I was okay. So I'm going through this process with my head held high and my chest out. Because he promised me that I would live and not die and declare the works of the Lord. So I went to the thoracic surgeon. And when I went to the thoracic surgeon, he said, well, it could just be a tumor. And because your chest is so large, your breast size, I won't be able to perform the surgery on you. Because usually we go down the center of the chest and crack it open. So I'm going to send you to a doctor in Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama, to see if he can go through your rib and just take the tumor out. So in the meantime, between time, my cough is getting worse. At this point, I just want an answer. I just want relief. So I'm praying for I'm praying for an answer. I'm praying for a tumor and just for it to be over. Not knowing that it was gonna really be a process. So I go to him and he do a chest x-ray and he says to me, But yeah, I don't think it's just a tumor. I think it's lymphoma. Because the tumor had grown 2 centimeters in 1 month, which caused it to spread out into my larynx and my airway, which was causing me to cough. So that was in June. He said, I want you to come back in August, June, July, August. He said, I want you to come back in August and see me. So I go back in August. August the 12th is when I have a biopsy done. And while the biopsy is going on, you are awake for this biopsy. They, of course, they give you pain meds or stuff to sedate you, but my prayer was like, Lord, keep me awake so I can see. So as you do the CT scan, guided biopsy, you look to the right or to the left, depending on what side you're on. So I look to the left at this point, and there's a screen that shows my chest. This is my first time actually seeing this thing on image. And it wasn't just one, it was 5. And they were lined up from largest to smallest, with the largest being at the top and working its way down. One actually sat on top of the heart, and that's another reason why they didn't want to do surgery. So a week go by, and I get a phone call. And all this time, I'm praying. All this time, I'm talking to God. All this time, I'm wondering what's going to happen next. So, you know, as a believer, you believe in God's word. And in his word, he says that if I ask, then I shall receive. And if I have faith of a mustard seed, I could speak to the mountain to be moved. But God also told me that there are some things you cannot denounce. There are some things you're going to have to go through to get what you need spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, intellectually. There are some things you're going to have to endure. This walk will never be easy, especially when you're calling for God to do a mighty thing in your life, for God to move heavily in your life. This walk will never be easy. So I walked it. And I asked God for his peace for the entire process. So August the 19th come, and I get a call from Alabama. And the lady said to me, Miss Lindsay. I said, yes. She says, this is the hardest call that I would have to make. And I said, would it be easy if it was sent via email? I said, because you're going to have to tell me anyway. And she said, no. And I said, well, just tell me. But I already knew that what it was going to be. I already knew that it was lymphoma. When the Spirit told me there's some things you can't denounce. Some things you're going to have to go through. So she said it turned out to be B-cell lymphoma. And we believe that it's primarily mediastinal. So those are the first, May, June, July, the first 5 months of my journey. So I'm going to end it here. So stay tuned for episode 2 when I tell you about my first cycle. So I would just like to leave you and to say that no matter what this journey looks like, God has you on his mind. See you next time. Bye.